Studying to become a doctor takes a lot of fucking studying. I'm not gonna lie to you. This, for example, is 1/10 of like the books I've read to become a doctor. I enjoy studying, I really do. Even in my free time, I read books. But times have actually changed. Let me explain. Before we even got into the medical university, we had this idea instilled into us that we need to study as doctors a lot. Throughout medical university, my father always used to tell me that I should get accustomed to studying because that's what I'm going to be doing like the rest of my life. And now I can finally understand why he was saying this. But our entire system is focused on studying, memorizing, and learning material. And in my opinion, this is not what being a doctor is about. Because even though studying is a big part of our job, it isn't the entirety of it. Recently, I received a question in our Discord channel from Zoe, and she asked how exactly I developed my mindset. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this really made me think a lot. Because for me to be to this point that I'm right now, I had to go through a lot of years of learning, studying, interacting with people, adapting to situations, and so on and so forth. And the reason I made all of this introduction is because I want to show you how exactly we as doctors are lacking in today's world. But sitting here and just talking about it doesn't really make sense to me. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So this is basically the average pathway to become a doctor. You study your ass off to get into med school, then you either get into med school and you avoid human contact for the next 6 to 7 years and you study your ass off to be top of your class, pass all of your exams, you get stressed, you have all of these worries, this self-doubt, this imposter syndrome, you don't know if you're gonna make it or not, if you are worthy to be a doctor or not, and then you end up like getting your MD. And then there's like the other pathway, where most likely you were pretty smart in high school. It doesn't take you too much time to understand these complex theories and concepts. You adjust and adapt very quickly, and most likely throughout med school you're just gonna take it a bit chill. You're gonna study like your ass off a few weeks before the exam, pass it with like okay grades, and you're gonna end up, like the other case, becoming an MD. Now, either you like it or not, this is like the average pathway, and then we have the unique pathway. I like to see the unique pathway as something a bit more complex, because most likely the people that choose this pathway are the black sheep in the herd, let's say. They usually have studied something else, they didn't quite like it, like for example, like engineering, lawyer, they're like, yeah, you know what, I like a new challenge, I'm gonna go try medicine, and they go to medicine. Or they even go to a different country to study medicine because they didn't get good enough grades to study in their home country, for example. There are other people that do this as a side quest, I say here, because at the end of the day, they really don't want to do medicine. They just do medicine just to have it as like a degree, and then they go do something completely different, like go into real estate or become a business owner and so on and so forth. And then there's like people who just go into med school just for the status, nothing else.
Shoeboxing. Oh my God. I became a doctor for the same 4 reasons everybody does. Chicks, money, power, and chicks.
And if you see in this graph, all of these pathways end up to the medical degree. It doesn't matter what you choose here, you're gonna end up becoming a doctor at the end of the day. And you're gonna have the title, you're gonna be a doctor. But I feel like any of these pathways don't actually turn you into a good doctor. And this is where the doctor mindset comes in. Now, before I explain to you the doctor mindset, I just wanna mention something. The educational system has failed us. The educational system, for some odd reason, to this day, encourages students to memorize things in order for them to be deemed as good students. Critical thinking is not taught into our schools. We are taught to be the best, to have good grades. But how we get to these good grades doesn't really matter. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, all of these exams that we end up taking, they're not actually good exams. Most likely, if you've gone through high school, you have had this type of professor or teacher who told you that you can solve a math problem only with one way, and this is the right way for you to do it. But in reality, this is not true. You can solve a problem with many different ways. As long as you find a scientifically proved way to go into the right solution of this problem, it's right, it's not wrong. So what I'm trying to say by this is that our educational system is guiding us to follow a specific path. And it's always in a way that doesn't actually help us to integrate properly into society once we finish school. So let me give you like a much better example. If you study medicine, most likely after you get your degree, you will not be competent enough to go in on like a random hospital in any part of the country and integrate into the system flawlessly without having any issues whatsoever. When we finish med school, we don't actually know what it means to be a doctor. We don't know about the bureaucracy that we have to go through, about the logistics of the job. We don't know about the ins and outs of the healthcare system. We don't know what it actually means to be a doctor. And it's much more complicated and not so luxurious as people think. And for these reasons, I decided to develop a mindset during med school that can actually help me survive all of these challenges that I was certain I would face. And without further ado, I introduce you to the doctor mindset. So after after COVID hit and after I started talking with a lot of doctors, I started to see a few patterns on the daily life of a medical doctor, of how the healthcare system usually works, and so on and so forth. So I decided to take a different approach during med school. During med school, I realized that I was not the best. I could not be the best. I could be one of the best, but not the best. And there's a very big difference with this. I knew people during med school who were smarter than me, who could accumulate knowledge in a much an easier way than me. And I realized that I could never beat them because they were simply better than me in this department. My goal was to take all of the necessary foundations from my med school in order for me to be prepared for the future. Once I realized that these people were the best at learning things, I knew that I had to be the best at other things. And this is where the doctor mindset goes on with the social skills and interactions. Now, most likely, if you're a doctor, if you're not in this case and you're just a random viewer who just came across this video, I just want to mention that the biggest issue with the healthcare system nowadays is that doctors are not properly communicating with patients. Because this is something that I realize that this is something that you cannot teach people how to communicate with each other. You can teach it to a point where you can understand how communication works. But how to master social skills and interactions is something that you either have it or not, in my opinion. So during med school, I realized that I can get all of the necessary information for me to survive residency, to be a very good doctor. But what will make me an exceptional doctor? I've noticed this pattern that basically doctors don't properly communicate with people. And this is one of the most important things. When I go to a doctor, I want to feel like I'm being heard. I want to feel like I can communicate with my doctor in a way that I can tell him exactly what I feel. He can take me seriously for what I feel, and he can find a solution to help me solve my problem. And this is where my entire mindset shifted. I knew that I had to do something different. And for this reason, I started to invest more time in learning and understanding social skills and interactions. And moving forward, for you to actually master these social skills and interactions, you need to get your head out of your ass. At the end of the day, we both know that you're going to be a doctor, and a doctor has a specific status in this society. Either we like it or not, some jobs have a higher status than others, and that's a reality of it. But you need to understand that at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all humans. Just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else. But you need to realize that at the end of the day, we are helping humans because we are humans ourselves. Having a title before your name doesn't mean absolutely anything in the great concept of life. It really doesn't mean anything. You're gonna live and you're gonna die like anyone else. So if you are in this game just to acquire status, you're gonna do great because being a doctor and doing that PhD and going into conventions and acquiring knowledge will set you apart, but you will not be one of the greatest. And this because I think that for you to reach GOAT level status, you need to get your head out of your ass. You need to accept that there are gonna be doctors out there and your colleagues that are gonna beat you in so many aspects of your work. They're gonna be, like I said before, smarter. They're going to know more things. They're going to be more up to date. But this is the part of the game. For you to actually move forward and be the best, you need to accept your faith. You need to accept these facts. You don't need to let them influence you, because the more you focus on this fact, the harder you're going to go into this never-ending circle where you need to do more and more and more and more. And you're going to end up being someone whose entire focus in their life is their work and their constant battle to be number one. And for this reason, I just want to end this video with a very simple message that if you want to stand out and if you want to be one of the best in everything you do, the one thing you need to understand is that you need to take action. Being smart is one thing. And if you were born smart, if you studied your ass off to get to this point where you have accumulated such a big sum of knowledge, kudos to you, well done, you're one of the best. But if you don't take action and you don't put all of these things into test, you're basically no one. The reason why I am doing this right now and I'm talking to this camera, and the reason why I am in this place of my life is because I decided to just say, fuck it, let's do it. I don't want to waste my life over-analyze things and just finding the perfect way to approach a situation, because I know that knowledge is only powerful when it's applied into something. In order for you to reach greatness, you need to take action. You don't need to overcomplicate things. And this is the main point. You need to take action. And this applies to you if you're a doctor. This can also apply to you if you're in anything else in your life. You just need to take action. We live in the 21st century where we have immediate access to so much information. You can basically be a professional coder within a month because there's enough data and resources out there at your fingertips ready to be used. The only thing that's stopping you from reaching greatness is the lack of action. Really, it sounds very cliche and it sounds very dumb, but just do it. Nike knows what they're talking about, Shia LaBeouf knows what they're talking about. Just do it. You just need to wake up and say, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna go and do it. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna end up. Because I know that at the end of the day, I've done
the best I could possibly do. Now, before I end this video, I just want to show you this one quote from an amazing psychiatrist, Viktor E. Frankl, who wrote the best books I've ever read, called Man's Search for Meaning. He says here, "Man constantly makes his choice concerning the mass of present potentialities. Which of these will be condemned to non-being and which will be actualized? Which choice will be made an actuality once and forever, an immortal footprint in the sands of time? At any moment, man must decide, for better or for worse, what will be the monument of his existence." That was it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much again for 1,100 subscribers. It's crazy, like, how the numbers keep increasing. I cannot believe it. Like I've mentioned in the other videos as well, be sure to join the Discord channel. We're hosting bi-weekly calls, and we're just building a community to help other colleagues find information and connect with each other. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, and we're gonna see each other in the next video. Bye.